Short. Welcome to Studio 7. I'm Mercedes Wilson.
I am Matt Beauvais.
And I'm Bevan Cassihan.
See, she right away. She knew what she needed to do.
Yes.
It was her first time sitting in the chair. She literally told us like 20 seconds ago. She hasn't even sat here before.
Welcome, Febin.
Welcome.
you.
Welcome. And we're putting you right on the spot with today's
Yes,
topic.
we are.
I walked out here like 5 minutes ago, and I sat between these two, and then Mercedes told me what they plan on talking about today. So I'm either going to be the funniest person in the room, or I'm not going to say a word. We're going to figure out. we're going to figure out how this goes.
Well, we're talking about dating.
Yeah, love is
Dating.
in the air.
Yes, and well, is it?
Oh,
I mean, it's Christmas. Is that why love is in the air?
for Josh Allen, love is in the air.
Oh,
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with etiquette.
Yeah.
And let's talk about, first dates.
Mhm.
Is there an etiquette for a first date? Who should pay for the food?
The guy.
You think so?
Oh, thank
Absolutely.
you. Okay.
Unequivocally, yes.
Whether it goes to the second date or not?
Absolutely.
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 Oh.
What do
That's
you
just my opinion.
Yeah. What do you
So
say,
I think
Feb?
a little bit different. So I feel like if
Oh, let's
if I feel like I'm not going to see them again, I'm splitting it.
Wow. But then that immediately lets them know that you're not going to see them again.
Exactly.
So you want to make that clear right off the jump.
I also don't want them to feel like I use them or I feel like I owe them anything.
Why do you care? You're never going to see them again.
Well, I mean, it's a small town.
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
But when you go on a date, you go with
Just-
the expectation, right? When you go on a
Yeah.
date, you go with the expectation that,
Yeah.
that we may never see each other again.
I never
Oh,
went.
Don't hold the
that's
food
fair.
hostage. Don't hold the bill.
I never went on a first date and expected that I wasn't going to pay.
Thank you.
I'll say this. I always appreciated when the girl would try and pay, but I never obviously would let them do that. I feel like if you initiated the date, you should be the one that pays for it.
Yeah.
Regardless of who you are in the relationship or whatever it is, if I ask you, I should pay. If you ask somebody, you should pay.
Oh, see, if
Oh,
I
I
ask you, I
see.
still feel like you should pay.
I mean, maybe this is a little bit too of like a traditional put my like brain in a box type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how many girls are asking guys to go out on dates?
True.
Right?
True.
Like at least nobody ever asked me out on a date.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just a long time ago. But
Yeah. Is there a bad first date? Is there a bad place to go?
you're the one doing it.
There's so many movies. Yeah, movies.
That's a bad first date.
Yes.
It's a bad first date
Why?
because you're not talking. You're just watching a movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree. It's been a long time since I went on a first date, so I don't really
Yeah.
know. Well, I would say, like, what would be an ideal first date then? What's like the perfect first date? If anybody's out there
Oh.
listening,
Oh, Debbie. We got people talking. Debbie is saying guys always pay the first date.
yeah.
Okay.
I see somebody said my name. Is it bad or good?
No, Matt, you're absolutely right.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Heck yes. Heck yes, Grace.
Matt, you're absolutely right.
Let's go.
Dee Dee says, from my time, the guys pay. End of story.
Right? And I feel like
That's fair.
I feel like that hasn't changed that much.
Yeah.
I feel like the way I was raised, it was like you pay on the first date, and honestly, you pay in like the early stages too. I don't think the girl pays for a while. Like I don't remember.
Do you still pay?
Well, I mean, it's our money now, so I guess it really doesn't matter. But yeah, actually, I would say most of the time that I'm the one who will like throw down our credit card or something. I think it
Nice. Okay,
depends.
that's good.
I think it kind of
Wow.
depends on what we're doing. Like we have a lot of like joint banking done together, but we also still have our own credit cards
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would
Okay.
say a lot of the time that I pay.
Yeah. So people are chiming in. Anita says 20 minutes at a coffee shop, meet and greet. That's a good.
Yeah, coffee shop is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee shop's a good one.
Yeah.
Cheryl thinks chefs would be a first date, a good first date. I
Ooh,
love
chefs, Yeah.
And pasta's a weird first.
Lasagna.
Pasta's a
What?
tricky first date. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Why?
Because
I don't know.
so
It's a weird thing
messy.
to eat in
Yeah.
front of somebody who you don't really know them yet. It's
That's
like, how
true.
are you doing
Even
that?
wings, ribs, just anything messy.
No.
I don't know.
I'll probably go
Come
with the
on,
salad.
guys.
And I don't even eat salads
I-
like that.
I
If you're
won't-
gonna get to know me, you're gonna get to know me.
Well, that's a theory. Somebody who we used to work with, I won't put them on blast, but she used to tell me all the time that her ideal first date would be going to a bar with a guy to get wings because you would immediately be setting the tone of like, hey, if we can eat these chicken wings in front of each other and get sauce all over our face and
Yeah.
lick our
Okay,
fingers,
that's fair.
like we have started off with getting that out of the way. So then everything else after that would be totally fine. And I always did appreciate. I was like, that actually kind of makes a lot of sense.
I think it gets in the way of getting to know each other though. You're just too busy like eating and finger licking, and it's just like, what's?
I think how they eat
I'd
chicken
rather
wings
talk.
would tell me a lot about a person.
Yeah, how they
Okay.
finger lick.
I'm a Buffalo girl. How you eat your chicken wings tells me a lot
Like
about
if they
you.
wash their hands or use like the wipes.
Yep. Yeah.
What would you?
It just does.
So when somebody approaches you and they're like, "Hey, I want to go on a date or I want to take you out or something," what do you want them to be asking? Like, what is your preferred way of them approaching you? Like, what would you feel the most comfortable with, and what is an immediate ick?
Like, are we talking about like just in person? It just doesn't matter, like on the apps.
Anything.
I mean, I think coffee is always cool because
Yeah.
yeah. Because when you said earlier, like, what's the perfect date? I don't think there's a perfect first date. I think there's a perfect like third date.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where you should invest in it.
Hmm.
Because I mean, first dates these days is just so
They're happening frequently.
yeah, they happen so frequently.
Yeah.
So
Well,
But-
Anita says a whole meal is an awkward first date. What if it's awful? How do you get away?
You don't get dessert.
yeah,
you
you
don't
smile and nod.
you don't get dessert. You just have to deal with it for
Yeah.
an hour or whatever it
Oh
is.
my gosh. Oh my. So is it acceptable to do a vibe check then? Like kind of check in, and if it's going well, you stay
What do you mean? What's a vibe like in regards to a date? I
during the
don't-
date. If it's going well, you stay. If it's not, then you both agree you can.
What do you say halfway through? So how is this going on a scale of
Oh,
1 to 10? On a scale of 1 to
nah.
10,
Are
where
you
we at?
having fun?
No, because if you're asking that, then you're not having fun.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree. I feel like
Yeah.
if it has to be clarified, then it's
Uh-huh.
probably not going well.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong because
yeah.
sometimes people are nervous and maybe you're having a
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
time
yeah.
reading somebody
Yeah.
else. So there's a lot of different things at play here. But yeah, I feel like if you were like, hey, like, are you enjoying yourself? That would be weird. I feel like you can kind of have that conversation after the date of just like, hey, I had a really good time. Hope you did too. I feel like that's how it would be framed.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
of like, are you enjoying yourself? Drinks and food, okay. Yeah, I mean, some of the comments are going to be electric on this episode.
Oh boy.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So Anita says, an ick for me is a needy pest trying to spend some time. Trying
A
to
what?
spend time. A needy pest trying to spend time.
A needy pest.
What does that mean?
Like, are they just wanting to like hit her up all
Needy?
the
Yeah.
time?
What does that mean? Tell us what that means, Anita.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, to be honest.
Yeah, someone said, Chris said, remote start your car and excuse yourself to use the bathroom, then
Then
run.
run. No, that's cold. That's cold. That's messed up.
I
No.
think just once you finish your food. Or I mean, usually dates, like if you're like sit down dates or something, that's usually like 3 hours.
3 hours.
I talk a lot. And I listen. I listen a lot too.
3 hours.
There was
for
one
a
time I had
date?
I had a date once. It was here in Buffalo where we were on a date for like 5 hours at a restaurant
You
and
didn't-
just
What?
talked.
You didn't marry this person,
Right.
No.
I don't think I've talked to my wife for 5 hours this week, and you did it all in one night. That's
Oh
crazy.
Oh
my
wow,
gosh.
yeah, it was 5 hours. It's probably the longest date
Yeah.
like sitting down I've ever had. But
7 minutes into Studio 7. Good time. Having a good time. Well, you can live vicariously through these dating stories, I guess, everybody. Maybe you're like me and you haven't been on a first date in a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, Robert says if you have the same interests, go to a hockey game.
Brought a girl to a hockey game once. Brought a girl to a Sabres game who had never been to a Sabres game. Didn't go
oh,
well.
that's cool. Oh,
She just didn't know what was going on, and I didn't have the patience.
Was she a fan though? That's what
No.
he's saying. If you have
No,
the same interests.
and that was my I probably
Yeah.
just assumed she would know what was going on, and she didn't. So it was.
that's so funny.
I wasn't interested enough that I felt like I needed to explain it.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
man, no overtime, please. Let's just.
What about speed dating?
I actually
Anita
feel
says
like,
speed dating.
I actually feel like that would be fantastic
Yeah, that'd be cool.
because I feel like you immediately
That's
know.
too
if that-
rushed.
Yeah, but that's the
That's
point.
too rushed.
It's like, do you click?
6 minutes.
there
No.
chemistry?
I need you to
And
buy me a
I
meal.
agree. I think there are meals because these days they have like speed dating events. So I think there are hors d'oeuvres or something like on
Yeah.
the side. Yeah.
No.
I feel like that would be my speed. No pun intended. Like I feel like going around, you immediately know a vibe check between the other person, and then at the end, I think you would have in the top of your head the ones that stood out for the right reasons, the ones that stood out for the wrong reasons, and then you circle back to those ones.
That's not enough
And then
time.
you have the meal
It's not enough time.
afterwards.
What do you mean? It's
No?
not
It's 6 minutes is not enough time to know if you want to. I mean, unless they just sit down and say something completely off the wall.
So then you don't believe in love at first sight.
Well,
I
that's a
believe
good
you're cute.
question.
Bang! How about that?
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What'd you say?
Galaxy brain over here. So I said, if you don't believe in love at first sight, then if you don't think 6 minutes is enough time to immediately tell, I mean, the theory of love.
You
is
can
at
say,
first sight
yeah,
would be
yeah.
you
I may want to
immediately
talk
know.
to you a little more, but
Uh-huh.
just to say,
For what it's worth,
not long enough.
for what it's worth, I don't think I believe in that either. Like, I don't think that like love at first sight is. I mean, maybe for some people.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody's like, oh.
I think when we were younger,
Yeah.
Welcome back to Studio 7. If you do not join us during these breaks online, you are missing out. We have great conversations. You can join us on Facebook, Twitter, or X, or I'm sorry, Twitter is X, but Facebook,
Yeah,
X,
we just
or
call
YouTube,
it. We
or
just call it
YouTube.
Twitter. It's just
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
to call it Twitter, really.
Yeah. So during the break, the comments, everybody was giving us comments on their opinions, and someone brought up speed dating, and I say no, it's not enough time. What say you?
I think that I disagree. I feel like it would be the perfect amount of time because I feel like you have to. So Anita says 6 minutes is enough time. My thought process would be you make the most of the 6 minutes and then you go back to the people that you thought were memorable for the right or the wrong reasons. The only thing that would be tricky there is I feel like in 6 minutes you would try and almost force yourself to stand out, which would be a little tricky. I feel like you
and
might
you can't read all of that. It's just too much.
I feel like with 6 minutes, that would be the one thing. Because I think you would be getting somebody who's like really, really like almost performing as opposed to just being themselves for those couple minutes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're trying to feel each other out. You've only
Yeah,
got that
yeah.
much time. But I do think I don't necessarily know if I believe in love at first sight, but I do believe in chemistry. And I feel like you can tell
Correct,
very
correct,
early on
correct.
if you have chemistry with somebody or if you don't have chemistry with somebody.
Well, I have a question. Can you pick the wrong restaurant the first date? Like, is it offensive if somebody wants to take you out and they ask you to go for tacos?
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
I don't think so.
So if a first date says I'm taking you to McDonald's,
I don't.
okay, your face changed.
Uh-huh.
Your face changed.
Why did you do that?
I'm just saying, like, is there a wrong?
There's no wrong, but
Matt's
now I
just
feel
like,
like
Matt's
yeah,
like, ah.
just take me to coffee because I don't even eat McDonald's. Like, take me to coffee.
My thing is, why should you, if you don't know if you have chemistry with this person or if it's ever going to work out, if you're ever going to see them again, why should you have to make a large financial commitment to somebody? And
Ooh.
maybe this is just my tainted married approach of this, but if I feel like it's more about just having the time with the other person and connecting with the other person than it is about the meal. Like,
Yeah.
I think
like-
no. I think where they take you
Mhm.
says a little bit about like the scenery and stuff. Says a little bit about their
Oh.
personality.
I don't disagree at all. But I also feel like I was coming from a place where, you know, if you have the means to do that, what if you don't have the means to do that? What if you really want to take somebody
Well,
out?
then we do McDonald's.
That's what I mean.
then
Coffee
we
is
do
$3 at Spot.
Sure, like that's easy, and
Like-
I agree with that. But what if it's you're having a conversation and somebody suggests dinner, right? Or even early on, even if it's not the first date, because let's say you do coffee for the first date and you go and you get a drink for the second date or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Eventually, you're probably going to have a meal with each other.
Yeah.
And I think if it's
I
you
say
know,
cook at home.
that's true too. That's true too. But
Yeah.
that's also a bit risky. Like if you're not a great cook, or if you're not super confident
Right,
in your
right,
cooking,
right.
do you really want to do that early on? Like I don't know if I would feel comfortable with that.
I think early on is the time to show people who you are, like what you like, what
Sure.
you're about.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I'm taking you around the things that make me comfortable.
I think it would be baller if I was like if you were a good cook and you were able to invite somebody over and like make them a really good meal.
Yeah.
I think that is like super legit.
and it doesn't mean you have to do it.
I
or
mean-
you have to know.
My wife and I started dating when I lived at home and she lived at home.
Yeah,
So that was a
see?
long time ago. So
Wow.
I wasn't inviting her over to the house to come cook in my parents' kitchen and be like, hey, you know, I can warm up this stuff from the fridge and we can make a nice meal
Okay,
out of
yeah.
it.
See, Alex says tacos forever.
Yeah, I feel like tacos are like the perfect, like sort of casual, and they can be elevated if you're at a nice place, or they can be just like very laid back and also not
Yeah.
crazy expensive either.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I don't think there should be any judgment off of what is suggested. I do agree with your point that where you go kind of says something about what you like and
Yeah,
kind
what
of-
you do,
and
where
what
you're
you-
comfortable,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's tough because I'm coming from the position of the guy, and I'm coming from the position of thinking that you always pay. And for me, it was never an issue of like, okay, like we'll go to places that I obviously would not bring somebody to somewhere that I did not like. That would never happen.
Yeah.
But I also don't feel like you should have to bring somebody to a really high-end restaurant or a nice
Nope, nope, nope.
restaurant.
Yeah, not the first.
No, but
First
I
date.
think that where you take me would show a little bit about you. Like if you say, let's go to Canal Side, somebody mentioned Canal Side, that'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
Canal
Yeah, that'd be
Side,
cool.
and let's get some ice cream.
Mhm.
That tells me a lot about you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. I feel like parks things outdoors, going on a walk. Like, have you guys seen the movie Superbad? You know,
Oh, it's been
Superbad?
a long
Yeah,
time.
it's been a while.
It's like there's like a line in the movie. It's like the best place to meet a girl is it like a farmer's market or like a pumpkin patch or something.
Why?
Because it's like very casual and it's very like wholesome. It's like you don't necessarily want to meet your future wife at like a bar or at,
Right,
like,
right,
Oh,
right, right,
yeah.
right.
a lot of other
Yeah, yeah.
places. So I always think back to that. It's
That's
like,
so funny.
well, you bring her to a pumpkin patch in October.
Can you overshare on the first date?
Yes, but I like when the guy overshares because then I know when to like run.
That's what you do, though. You're news.
I like when they overshare because I'm like, okay, it's probably not the best person for me.
But you shut down if they overshare? Like, do you like,
No,
is
I
there
don't-
like a
no.
noticeable, like, oh, we're
No, I let
done
them.
here?
I let them share until the time is up. I'm like, all right, 3 hours in, I'm already down my food.
So this isn't just a date. This is also therapy, basically.
Right, right.
You should be charging them.
Right.
Basically.
I'm like, okay, that's my cue to go.
Yeah, it's like, all right, at this point, I
Yeah.
think we're done here.
No, but I do like oversharing because then you don't have to wait till the next date. You kind of just analyze after that first.
But
one.
isn't
Like,
that
okay.
part of the process to be peeling back things
Yeah,
as you
it's
Remember,
true.
go?
like you analyze.
Well,
I'm
if you get everything out of the way in the first 2 dates, what the heck's the point of
No,
the
no,
third
no,
date?
no.
That's true.
No.
That's okay.
No, but there's no way you can get everything out in the first 2
Of
days.
course not.
You can learn a lot, and then you
Mhm.
kind of pick things and say, hey, well, tell me more about this. And then that kind of branches off, and
Yeah.
that's called getting to know someone.
Yeah, but that's also life. Like, I've been married for 5.5 years,
Yeah.
and I don't know everything about my wife, and she doesn't know everything about me.
Nope.
And tomorrow it's going to be the same way.
Yep.
And in 5 years, I'm going to know
Oh.
more about her then than I did now, and we're just
Oh,
going to
that's fair.
continue on. So it's like,
Yeah.
what's the rush of getting there?
Just because I think I would want, like with James and I, we were very upfront in the beginning. And I don't know if people consider oversharing or not. We'll talk about it when we come
Yeah,
back.
we'll talk about it. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Peter says we need a
oversharing is good.
Studio 7 love connection theme.
Do you still consider when you go out to dinner like a date?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
So
Like,
you-
what's today? Tuesday?
Today's
Yeah.
Tuesday.
We went on a date Saturday. The
Does-
girls had a birthday party, and
Uh-huh.
we dropped them off with a friend, and we
Uh-huh.
went on a date.
But a
Oh,
date would have to be the two of you,
Yes,
not anybody else.
correct.
Okay. That's
No, you can do like double dates. Like we've
no,
done
no,
that.
no, no. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, if there's kids, you don't consider it a date, right?
Oh, that's
I
a good
don't.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we go to dinner, we're at the point right now where most of the time Ellie is with us.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't necessarily know if I would consider that a date. I do subscribe
Yeah,
to
I
the fact
wouldn't.
that you should never stop dating,
Yeah.
like, even if you're
Mhm.
married. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But it's really hard when you've got a 2-year-old.
It's very
Yeah.
hard. It's very hard.
Dude, that kid put me through the ringer today. So normally on like a day like today, watch the baby in the morning from like 7:30 to like 2:30. Then I come into work and I'll work like 3 to whatever time this evening.
Mhm.
And she normally sleeps from like 12:30 to 2. That's her nap time.
Mhm.
And that is my
Okay.
time to try and be productive.
Mhm.
There's no nap today. I tried to put her in the crib and she
Oh.
was just like, we're not having it.
Not
So
today,
then-
Dad.
Then the whole time you're waiting for her to nap and she won't. So then you got to like take her out and kind of restart everything. Then you don't get to any of the things that you're planning on doing. It was
Yikes.
like, okay, when we're on nap time, I'm going to go cook lunch. I'm going to make something for myself. And then I'll like ride the Peloton or something for a half an hour.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, none
yeah.
of that happened. So there's no lunch and there's no
Oh.
Peloton. It's just kind of like, okay, let's deal with the kid and figure it out.
Mhm.
This parenting thing, man,
It's a lot.
it's a
Wow.
lot.
It's a lot,
It's a lot.
and it's nonstop.
Man, this dating stuff sounds like a walk in the park compared to this.
Oh, come on.
Like a walk in the park.
So Sandra says, I think Febin is absolutely right. Coffee is the way to go. You don't spend a lot of money, and it's relaxing to just sit and talk.
Yeah.
1 minute. Okay. Sorry. I was like looking over. I didn't know exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments today. A lot of
Yeah.
people obviously have interest in dating.
Oh yeah. They have some comments here.
What's
Some
the
opinions.
obviously maybe they're watching. What's the best date you've been on recently? Doesn't have to I don't need you to be like, "Oh, it was Bill," but like what did you guys do? Yeah.
Ooh, the best that I've been on recently. I can't even think of one. Oh no, I went on I did the whole ice cream walk in the park last summer. Actually, yeah, that was fun.
And that was
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, we went to I think it was Jenny's out in like Williamsville,
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
and it went so well that we went and got like tea,
Uh-huh.
like some like tea place. But we went and walked in that area in Williamsville, you know, like the Main Street
Yeah, Main
area
Street,
that's
yeah,
like with
yeah.
the river.
Yeah,
that's
there's
what
the
it's
little
called.
park and everything
Yeah.
there. That's a go-to spot.
Yeah.
Us North Towns, we got it figured out up the North Towns.
Oh,
Yeah.
here he
We
goes.
got
Don't
better-
get him started.
We got good spots.
Don't get him started
We
on
got
North
good
Towns.
spots.
Okay, we're coming back. Welcome back to Studio 7. So before the break, we were talking about oversharing.
Mhm.
And I think some people couldn't consider what James and I did oversharing, but maybe it's just the part of life that we were in. We
Mhm.
were in our early 30s and we were like, hey, this is where I am.
Mhm.
This is what I'm looking for. And so I don't know if it was oversharing, but from that, we were able to just build and kind of create moments where we just learned more and more.
What do you consider oversharing?
Like are there boundaries around talking about your personal life? Like, should someone know if you've been divorced? Should they know if you have kids? Should they know, different personal things about you? At what point should you talk about that stuff?
I feel like it depends on the point in in life that you are both collectively at. I feel like that's not oversharing if you are more of what I would consider an adult. Because at this point, you were looking for somebody probably more of a long-term thing than a short-term thing.
That's a good point.
If you're in your early 20s, teens, or whatever it is, like, I feel like oversharing, like, you don't need to do that. I feel
Yeah.
like you'll eventually get there and you'll figure things out. But, like, if I was going on a date, I would want to know. If I was going on a date, if I wasn't married, I was going on a date, I would want to know, like, somebody's like, what do you want in life at this point in my life? Like, I'm at a very different point now than I was when I started dating people all those years ago, because, there's non-negotiables, right?
Yeah.
I do think that and I think that oversharing kind of gets that out of the way. And I do think that that's important.
Yeah. Do you talk about non-negotiables?
No, not really. Not on the first.
Not on the first date. That
Date,
might
yeah.
be tricky. Might be tricky. You
Yeah.
imagine being like,
I'm gonna stay with James forever.
Be like,
because
I want-
would be no good. In the
imagine
dating
like
world.
imagine like first date and be like, I want 4 kids. And the other person would be like, what the heck are you
I'm
talking
saying,
about?
like,
yeah. Like,
Not bad.
yeah. Yeah. What are some of the comments
so
saying?
Peter says if you have kids, mention about having kids up front.
I
So-
agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
a big one.
what's up front? Like, hi, I'm
Uh-huh.
Mercedes. I have kids.
No, but I think if it naturally comes up, like, I don't think that you, but I also,
Febin, what?
It needs to be on the app. If you're meeting them on the app, it needs to be said before you meet up.
She wants it in their
I'm
subtitle.
sorry.
but
She wants it in their
But
subtitle,
what?
man.
But if it's on the app, would you not be more cautious or less eager to approach if that
Yes.
was something for? So
See?
that's why people keep it off,
Yeah.
because they don't want to be, playing with one hand tied behind their back before they even get a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
I
better
agree.
to be upfront with those type of things.
I don't disagree.
Even the part if you're divorced, like mention that part too.
What is it supposed to say? Is it supposed to say like, hey, I'm Matt, I'm divorced, I have a kid, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because then nobody would ever, like, swipe right or whatever. So at that point, it's like, I feel like you've got to be open about it, but you don't
Yeah.
have to put it out there. Because maybe it's not something that you're super comfortable talking about either. Like, a lot of those things would be pretty traumatic for some people that they might not want to bring up
Oh,
immediately,
That's fair.
right?
Yeah. But I think you should talk about your kids.
Because why is sure, but why is that any different than if you meet them at a bar, right? If you meet somebody and they're not going to come up to you and be like, "Hey, I'm Steve. I have 3 kids and I'm recently divorced." They're not going to say that. So why should that be in their bio on whatever the app is?
It'll come up in the conversation though, like later down in that same moment. Possibly.
Maybe not
So-
that night, but it should soon
should.
after.
Yeah.
But I don't think it has to immediately.
I think it has to.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, once again, married guy. So
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like
I'm
hard
I'm telling
to
you,
know.
I'd be no good. I'd be like, I don't do this. I don't do that. I need chicken wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain situations like I had a dating experience. I was telling Mercedes this. I had a dating experience back in like 2020 before the shutdown. It was like February, and this guy I didn't even find out that he was divorced and had a kid, and then said that his ex-wife was crazy. I'm like, I don't want to deal with all that.
Yeah.
Like I wish I knew that on the app. It didn't even say it on the app.
He's not gonna put that on
And then
the
he was like, "Oh, you don't pay attention on the app." I pulled the app out. I go, "Where is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see
Do
it."
you
Yeah.
know who I am? Do you know what I do?
No. I was like, this was like 2 hours into the conversation. I'm like, that's a surprise. And he goes, well, that means you probably wouldn't have even been on the date with me. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly what Matt said.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but at least it's like honesty is the best policy. I think
But
it's
what if those
better.
first 2 hours would have been so amazing?
they were, and then I found that out the last 2 minutes of 2 hours.
So
Yeah, that's tricky.
look, I agree with Fevin. By being upfront before you meet in person, you give the other person the opportunity
thank
to
goodness.
decide if they do want to meet up. So it's about taking away their choice.
I understand that. And I also think that social media now makes it really easy to figure out what you're trying to figure out before you even see the person. Like
Yeah.
if you set up a date,
Yeah.
I feel like it would be almost negligent to not just do like a little quick Google search or like a Facebook search or an Instagram search. And then I think that could kind of steer you in the direction of like, okay, maybe green flag, maybe okay, like yellow, like let's go in with caution here, or like, you know.
Well, Grace says you could write it in your bio, must like kids.
Yeah, but I mean, Grace, I don't
Oh,
disagree with
yeah.
that, but like you can like kids and not want to have your own kids or not want to take on
Yeah.
somebody's kid. I shouldn't say take on somebody's kids, but you know what I mean.
Mhm,
Become, you know, potentially like a
I'm
step
not saying I
parent or
don't
something.
want kids though. I just
What did
need-
Alex
I
say? He's
just
looking
need
at
that
us.
information up
Smirking.
front.
Is talking or being exclusive the same thing?
No,
No,
I
absolutely
don't
not.
think so. No,
No.
I don't think so.
No.
No,
Because one is definite, like one is like out there, like
Yeah.
claiming them out in public. So
I don't know. Do you think it's weird to be talking to multiple people at the same time? Do you feel like that's not fair?
no, because you're
If
talking.
you if you're being honest about it.
yeah,
If you're being honest about it. But I think
I mean, if you're on the apps or if you're online dating, I would imagine you're kind of talking until you're not, right? You're having, you know,
and that goes back to the honesty is the best policy. You got to be upfront about that too.
yeah. And then if you meet this person, what do you say? But how do you say that?
I think after like, well, I mean,
Hey, I hope we have a great
it
time.
came
I'm
up
going on
immediately. It came up immediately with James and I.
Oh, yeah?
So are you talking to other people? Yeah. And then after a few weeks, we were like,
Oh,
okay,
see,
we
that-
want to be
See,
exclusive.
that would be dangerous to me because it'd be like, so what do they like? Like, what's nice about them? What do I do better than them? How do I beat them, basically? And that's, I think, how my approach to it would
too
be.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to go.
We
I
should
don't
just
want to.
Talk about dating every week, I guess.
I know. We'll see you guys
See you
tomorrow.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.